Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Indiginerd Project. Today I'd like to give you all some last minute advice when filling out your NCAA bracket. This year Yahoo is offering $1 billion to anyone who can fill out a perfect bracket. They're also giving the top 20 people who fill out a bracket $100,000. With that in mind, here's my first tip. Visualize what you would do with that $1 billion. How would you spend it? How would you go crazy with it? And then act on it. Max out your credit cards. Borrow money from your friends and family. It's that kind of pressure on you that's going to force you to perform better and make the right picks. It's called motivation. Tip number 2, pick your favorite team to go all the way. Sure, you might not win this year, but eventually you're going to be right, and then everyone else is going to be like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I picked them, I knew it, somehow I'm amazing. I also use this philosophy with the lottery. I always pick the exact same numbers because eventually those got to be the right numbers, right? Speaking of the lottery, they say you're more likely to get struck by lightning than to win the lottery. My mom responds to this by saying, well, I did almost get struck by lightning a couple times in my life. Despite my mom's sage wisdom, I do not recommend getting struck by lightning to improve your odds of winning your bracket. I don't think the math works out that way, but I appreciate your dedication. Tip number 4, wear the same socks you're wearing now every day till the end of the tournament. It's supposed to be good luck. Also because A League of Their Own is an awesome movie. Tip number 5, stay away from sharp objects in case your bracket crashes and burns in the first day. Tip number 6, when filling out your bracket, go with your gut. Also, lay off the processed carbs so your gut isn't quite as big, because then you get embarrassed by your gut and then you tend to ignore your gut and you'll miss your gut's wonderful advice. Tip number 8, try to have some perspective. You probably haven't seen 80% of the teams play and you're relying on the secondhand advice of sports writers. So any failure in making the picks is not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Okay, stop crying. Tip number 8, buy a dartboard and then use the darts to repeatedly stab your bracket when things go horribly wrong for you. It's cathartic. Tip number 9, you can always print up a fake bracket after the fact and amaze your family and friends. Take them out to dinner with your supposed winnings. And then at the end of the meal, announce that it was all a big joke and they have to pitch in for dinner. You may want to wear a helmet. And finally, tip number 10. Don't be afraid to get creative. Start an NIT bracket. Okay, it's too late this year, but next year, start an NIT bracket. People will appreciate the fact that you're different and original. That wraps up this edition of the Indiginerd Project. Good luck out there in your brackets, people.